Hey everybody, this is James here with an update on my game for game development, which is called Gather. There's only 1 week left to go now in game development. It's been really flying by. This last week has gone by really fast in particular, but there's been some updates to the game that I want to take a look at here. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you go and wishlist Gather on Steam right now. You can go and hit that wishlist button. It really helps it out for sharing the game around to let everybody see it. One thing to note, I've had a couple of people asking me, the game Gather will be released a couple of weeks after game development ends. This is to allow everyone else who makes a game as part of the whole game development to get some time to share their game and give some feedback. I don't want my game overshadowing anything else at all, and I want to get some time myself to play those games and start sharing around the cool games that everybody makes. So that's why this game is going to be released on the 16th of May rather than on the 1st of May or anything like that. So as I said, make sure you go over and hit that wishlist button now. But before we get to that, let's jump in and take a quick look at what I've actually accomplished in the last week. So I'm back out here on the main menu screen, and a lot of what has been worked on for the game this week has been kind of behind the scenes sort of stuff. There's been things like a save system added to the game. You can see this continue button here on the screen now, so you can save your progress. It does the whole thing of, unlocking levels as you go through the level select system and things like that. Those levels will need to be made a little bit further as we go on here. But one important thing I did is make it so that the menu navigation now works. So just using the keyboard, not having to rely on mouse and key, I can start a new game, I can cancel that, or I can go to my level select, browse around in different places like this to navigate between everything as we go. I'm going to dive into starting a new game here. There's been a whole bunch of other things behind the scenes as well. It's now got Steam integration built into it because I'm releasing this game on Steam. I've got a little error down here saying it's not working right now, and that's simply because I'm not logged into Steam while I'm working on the game here. But it is working nicely on Steam now. I've also uploaded a build of it to Steam, which I've just jumped over to here because now I can actually test the game out and potentially share it with other people to test it on different machines and things like that. And most importantly, I wanted to test it out running on my Steam Deck to see how it works over there. Turns out, as the game is devised with kind of a mouse and keyboard in mind, it semi-works okay on the Steam Deck. It runs perfectly fine, but it needs a little bit of adjustments to maybe work on that. So I'm going to work on that in the next week or so. But having it up on Steam is actually really great because it means that everything is basically set up now for releasing the game. The only thing I need to do is keep developing the game and get it to a point where it's in a buildable state that I finally want to release, and then it will be perfectly fine to release on Steam. So essentially everything now on the Steam end of things is perfectly working. But back in the game here, one of the other major things I wanted to add into the game was, obviously you have the basic gameplay loop of collecting these things and putting them on the little boat. I got a good feedback from someone saying that this kind of boat maybe doesn't fit with the kind of harvesting aesthetic of the game, so I'm probably going to change this to something different, maybe like a steamboat or one of those boats with a big paddle wheel on the back of it or something a bit more kind of fun. But one thing I did add was hidden collectible diamonds in each level. So if I click on this, look, it pops out, we got a little diamond, I collect it, it grows and spins and shakes, and then poof, oh look, we got a nice little effect. Pretty simple, but there'll be one of those in each level for you to try and find. Obviously I'm not going to spoil them all here or anything like that. I also added, if I finish this level, and let's just pop out to our main menu here, I should go to the level select, but when you collect a diamond, you get a little diamond symbol in the top corner of the level here, which says, hey, that's the level that you collected the diamond in over there. I'm going to jump also, we added a couple more mechanics into the game. This is sort of just an example here, but we've got a little bunny that hops around. It kind of moves around randomly, and then once it gets close enough to a carrot or some other kind of crop, it'll go, ooh, food, and run over and try and start eating it. Now at the moment they don't do much, they don't cause much problems beyond being a bit of a nuisance. They don't actually eat the carrots or anything like that. I thought maybe this is meant to be mostly a relaxing game. The main purpose of these is to provide an obstacle when you're driving around with the tractor. They'll get in the way of the tractor and things like that and stop the tractor. So I can also pick this guy up and pop him in the water, but he'll be fine. He'll just bounce and float on the water over here. Hey, I'm a little bunny, I like to float on the water. He probably needs to be adjusted so he's not sinking down below the surface of the water, but we can get to that. Don't worry about that. Let's get this little guy out of here. Can I reach him? Nope, I can't grab him. That's okay. We don't need to worry about that guy. But they'll mostly, as I said, there'll be an obstacle for your tractor driving around in the game. I also wanted to have some other types of collection in the game. So there's a little rabbit guy running around over there. One thing about them as well, if you pick them up and drop them down, they basically become inactive at that point, so they won't continue running around. Just as an extra little trick of how to deal with them. Anyway, the reason I came over here was because we now have, if we click on this little tree, it'll harvest any objects that are on the tree. So these will be another collectible item. I can't just grab the apples off the tree. I have to shake the tree and then drop them off. So it's just a way of having another little interaction, and then they can be dropped into the boat and they count as one of your little items over here. So that's a couple of more obvious things that I've added in. As I said, a lot of the work has been behind the scenes. I've also been working on a few other things, some new game dev course stuff that's going to be coming out this week. So it's taken up a bit of time, but those things happen, and that's okay. As we move into the final week of developing the game here for game development, this is the time where you can really focus and get your game kind of in a really playable state and start adding some polish and things like that to it. Remember that if you're worried about finishing your game at this point, a week is actually a really long time to get things done. There's a lot of people who maybe you could even just start developing your game this week and get it done. For example, the Ludum Dare Game Jam is also taking place this weekend at the very end of the month. So if you wanted to develop a game as part of the Ludum Dare Game Jam, but also make it something that works as part of game development, that's perfectly great to do as well. Work on a game for 48 hours, and why not submit it as part of game development? There's so many options about what you do to make your own game here. I've been seeing some really cool things on Discord. People are making some great progress. We've also got a whole bunch of games submitted over here as part of game development already. There's a week to go and we've got 17 entries right now. Is this up to date? Let me just refresh that page. Yep, that's right. So there's a whole bunch of games here. I haven't played any of these because I want to save the gameplay portion until after the month has ended. For me personally, you're obviously more than welcome to go play any of these. I know a couple of these were games that are work in progress as well, that aren't finalized, so I want to get the final version that I possibly can. But it's great to see games being submitted. There's also a bunch of cool games being showing their progress on the game development Discord, which of course you can join in the link down below too. It's awesome to see this progress, and I really can't wait to see how all these games are going to turn out when the month is over. But there you go. There's a quick little look about what's going on here. We'll have another update at the end of game development to share what the game is like at that point, and hopefully then we'll get to playing some games. I'm hoping to do a stream of playing some of these games and showing off the amazing things that people are making. Again, if you haven't already, make sure you head over to Gather on Steam in the link down below. Hit the wishlist button. It's free to do, it costs nothing, but it really helps games out. If you ever see a game asking for wishlists on Steam, even if you have no intention of buying the game, or you're thinking, oh, maybe I'll buy that game someday, if you add it to your wish list, it just helps overall with the Steam behind the scenes, the calculations of how much a game is shown around and things like that. So it's always a good idea to wish list a game if you possibly can. But there you go. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with more game development goodness very, very soon. Keep on being awesome, and I'll see you very soon.